Welcome. If your mind is full or your body tired, you can set it down for a while. Tonight, there's nothing to solve, just a gentle walk through the quiet lives of some of the cutest animals in the world. Take a breath. Let your shoulders and jaw relax. There's nowhere else to be. Simply listen and let the rhythm of these peaceful lives guide you toward rest. High in cool mountain forests, where the air is clean and damp and the branches hold small beads of mist, red pandas move with an unhurried softness that seems perfectly made for nighttime listening. Their world is often quiet before it is seen. There is the faint rustle of leaves, the whisper of bamboo brushing together, the light contact of paws against bark, and then, slowly, a red panda appears among mossy branches like a warm ember in green shade. A red panda is small and careful in its movements. Its body is wrapped in thick reddish fur, touched with darker brown, along the legs in pale cream, across the face. The markings around its eyes and cheeks give it a thoughtful, almost painted look, as though the forest itself has brushed gentle lines around its gaze. Its ears are neat and rounded. Its nose is dark and delicate. Its tail, long and ringed with shades of russet and gold, drifts behind it like a soft, striped scarf. Much of a red panda's day is shaped by calm repetition. It rests for long stretches in branches that cradle the body just enough to keep it balanced and warm. Curled into itself, with its tail wrapped close like a blanket, it becomes almost part of the tree. In cool weather, that tail is more than beautiful. It is useful, a warm covering laid over the face and body while the panda sleeps. Even in sleep, everything about the animal seems designed for stillness. When it wakes, it often wakes gradually. There is no sudden burst. A paw shifts, the head lifts, the back arches in a long stretch. It blinks into the dim forest light, listening, not with worry, but with patient awareness. Then it begins to climb, and climbing is one of the quiet marvels of the red panda's life. Its paws are strong, its body balanced, and its movements sure. It can move along narrow branches with remarkable ease, descending trunks head first by rotating its ankles in a way that helps it grip the bark. This small detail, hidden inside the structure of its legs, allows it to move through trees with graceful confidence. The red panda is often associated with bamboo forests, and bamboo does make up much of its diet. Yet its life is never rushed by abundance. Bamboo is not a food that gives a great deal of energy, so the red panda lives in a way that respects this. It conserves, it rests, it selects tender leaves and shoots. It spends time chewing slowly, quietly, with a kind of sleepy focus. There is something deeply calming in the idea of a life arranged around gentle effort and soft economy, a life that knows how to pause. In the cool forests of the eastern Himalayas and parts of China, the red panda shares its home with drifting clouds, wet lichen, dark trunks, and understories rich with fern and moss. The forest floor is deep with fallen leaves. The branches are layered with moisture from frequent mist. Light filters through in pale, patient beams. Nothing in this habitat feels harsh. Even the sounds are softened by foliage, by damp bark, by distance. A red panda moving through such a place does not break the quiet. It belongs to it. It is an animal that spends much of its life alone, and in that solitude, there is no loneliness, only rhythm. It leaves scent marks to communicate with others. It knows its pathways. It knows which branches will hold its weight and which hollows make good resting places. Its world is intimate rather than crowded. It is a life measured in nearby things: the curve of bark, the angle of a branch, the freshness of a bamboo leaf, the coolness of evening air. There are moments, too, when red pandas groom themselves with great care. A paw is licked and drawn across the face. Fur is straightened. Small bits of leaf or bark are removed. The gestures are slow and exact. Grooming is part of comfort, part of order, part of the quiet routine of being a creature adapted to cool forests and hidden heights. Watching such movements in the mind, it is easy to feel one's own breathing slow to match. Young red pandas, when they are small, rest in tree hollows and nests prepared by their mothers in sheltered places. There, wrapped in warmth and fur and wood, they spend their early days listening to the muffled world beyond the nest. The mother returns softly, attentive and measured, carrying the calm of the forest with her. Even this beginning feels gentle. It is a life that starts in hidden safety, among bark and moss and shadow. As evening deepens in a mountain forest, a red panda may move from one branch to another, with a last muted light resting across its coat. Its tail balances each step. Its body passes through, leaves without haste. Then it pauses again, perhaps to sit upright and look outward with that bright, mask-like face, or perhaps simply to settle into another curve of branch and become quiet once more. The forest holds it. The branch holds it. The night comes softly, and the red panda, warm and careful and unhurried, remains in the trees like a small, living piece of autumn. Sea otters. Along cold coastal waters where kelp forests rise and fall beneath the surface, and gentle swells rock the shoreline. Sea otters float with one of the most peaceful motions in the animal world. They are animals of water and softness, of thick fur and rounded faces, of drifting afternoons and quiet grooming beneath open sky. To imagine them is to imagine a body resting on water with complete trust, rising and falling with each small wave. A sea otter often floats on its back. Its paws rest against its chest. Its head tilts slightly upward, whiskers catching the light, eyes half-lidded or bright with calm attention. Around it, the sea moves in broad, patient rhythms. There is the hush of water against water, the low roll of distant surf, the sway of kelp stalks under the surface, and the crisp salt air that moves across the coast. The otter remains at ease in the middle of it all, buoyed by the sea itself. Sea otters are wrapped in extraordinarily dense fur, one of the thickest coats in the animal world. Because they do not rely on a thick layer of blubber as some marine mammals do, their fur is essential. It traps air, insulates the body, and turns cold ocean water into a place where the otter can live, sleep, feed, and drift. That is one reason grooming is so important in otter life. A sea otter spends long periods cleaning and arranging its fur, working air into it with diligent paws and nimble motions. This grooming is not frantic. It is steady. It is attentive. It is part of the flow of the day. There is something almost ceremonial in the way an otter grooms. It rolls, rubs, combs through the coat, licks its fur, smooths its chest, and tends to every part of itself with repetitive care. The sea rocks the body as this happens. Tiny ripples move outward from each motion. Above, seabirds may drift past in the distance. Below, fish slip through green water and shafts of pale light. But the otter remains focused on warmth, comfort, and order. In kelp-rich waters, sea otters sometimes wrap themselves in strands of kelp while resting. The kelp acts like a gentle anchor, keeping them from drifting too far while they sleep. It is one of the loveliest images in nature. An animal tucking itself into the sea with living ribbons of brown-green plant, as though fastening a soft blanket around its body before drifting into rest. Some otters sleep this way under stars. Others sleep under passing cloud. In both cases, the effect is one of profound trust in the world around them. Sea otters are known for using stones to open shellfish, and even this practical behavior can be imagined calmly. An otter surfaces with a small clam or mussel. It settles on its back. It places a stone on its chest or retrieves one it has kept in a loose fold of skin beneath the forearm. Then, with rhythmic taps, it opens the shell. The movement is purposeful, but it is also unhurried, integrated into the larger rhythm of floating, diving, rising, and resting. The coastal world around a sea otter is full of soft repetition. Kelp bends and straightens, tides advance and recede, pebbles are washed by thin sheets of foam. The horizon holds still while the surface is always in motion. Sea otters belong to this kind of place because their lives, too, are built on repetition. Dive and rise, feed and groom, float and sleep, surface and breathe. Their bodies move with the water rather than against it. Mothers and pups share some of the tenderest scenes in marine life. A pup may rest on its mother's chest while she floats, or drift nearby in a cradle of kelp while she dives for food. The pup's fur is especially fluffy, so buoyant that it can bob on the surface like a small cloud. The mother returns again and again, attentive to the pup's position, washing and grooming it, guiding it through the routines of the sea. Even in open water, there's a strong feeling of shelter. A resting group of otters can sometimes be seen floating together, bodies near one another, the sea holding them all. Their paws may touch. Their heads may turn slowly with the motion of the current. There's no strain in it, only the quiet company of animals adapted to a watery life. Their presence makes the ocean feel less vast and more intimate, as if there are small, warm hearths drifting upon it. As dusk settles over the coast, the light becomes silver and blue. The sea darkens. Kelp forests disappear into shadow beneath the surface. Still the otters float, small and round and calm. A whiskered face rises. A paw smooths the chest. The body turns slightly with the swell. There is no need to hurry the night. The sea carries them. Their fur keeps them warm. The sky lowers into evening, and the otters remain cradled between water and air, drifting gently in the cool, breathing world of the shore. Fennec foxes. In deserts where the sand cools after sunset and the heat of the day loosens its hold on the earth, fennec foxes begin to move through moonlit stillness with light, precise steps. They are among the smallest of foxes, but what many notice first are their ears, large and upright, delicate and expressive, like pale sails catching the slightest movement of air. Beneath the wide dark sky, a fennec fox appears almost weightless, a soft animal made for quiet nights. Its coat is pale cream and sandy gold, colors that belong completely to dunes and dust and dry grasses. The fur is thick enough to insulate against cold desert nights, and even the soles of its feet are furred, helping protect the fox from hot sand and rough ground. Its body is compact, its muzzle fine, its eyes dark and reflective in low light. Its tail is long and soft, carried low or curled close when the animal rests. Everything about the fennec fox seems carefully proportioned to a world where the nights are cool. The sounds are subtle, and survival depends on listening. The desert at night is often imagined as empty, but it is not empty. It is spacious. There's a difference. A fennec fox moves through this spaciousness with alert calm. It pauses often, not in fear, but in attention. Those large ears do more than make the fox look endearing. They help it hear small movements beneath sand or in sparse plants. The fox listens to the land the way others might read a map, quietly taking in tiny details carried by sound. During the day, a fennec fox rests in a burrow where the air is cooler and the brightness above is softened by earth. These burrows can have multiple entrances and chambers, creating shaded refuge beneath the desert surface. There, the fox curls into itself. Tail a round body, ears relaxed, breathing evenly in the dimness. The world above may shimmer with sun, but below ground there is stillness. A small den in the desert can feel as protected and enclosed as a nest. When evening comes and the temperature falls, the fox wakes into a gentler world. The sand no longer burns. The breeze begins to move. The sky deepens from gold to violet to dark blue. Stars appear. Then the fox steps out, testing the air, moving with a kind of springy softness. Its paws barely disturb the surface. Its shadow stretches thin over the sand. It travels among low shrubs, over small ridges, past dry stems and scattered stones, a quiet presence in a wide open place. The fennec fox eats a varied diet, and in that adaptability, there's a sense of ease with its landscape. It may nibble fruits, roots, insects, or other small foods found in the desert. Moisture drawn from food can help sustain it in a dry environment. The fox does not rush through the night. It explores it. It investigates scents. It pauses beside a tuft of grass. It listens near the edge of a dune. It sits for a moment beneath a sky full of stars. A life in the desert, in this form, is made of careful intervals. The texture of the desert around a fennec fox is gentle at night. Sand that seemed glaring by day becomes satin-like under moonlight. Low winds draw faint patterns over the dune faces. Dry seed heads tremble softly. The silence is never complete, but it is delicate. A grain shifts. A stem clicks. A breeze passes over the surface of the land. The fox is part of this quiet pattern, not breaking it, only moving within it. Family life in fennec foxes also carries a sense of hidden warmth. Pups are born in the shelter of the den, protected from extremes by the earth itself. There, surrounded by soft fur and darkness, they grow in safety. The adults tend the den and return with food, moving back and forth between open desert and underground refuge. Above them, dunes change shape under wind. Below them, life continues in chambers of still air and calm enclosure. Because the fox is so light and the desert is so spacious, many of its movements feel almost musical in the mind. A short pause, a careful step, a sudden but neat bound, then stillness again. Its ears turn, its nose lifts, its tail follows the body in one smooth line. The animal is not only adapted to the desert, it seems to have absorbed the desert's own quiet rhythm. Long stretches of stillness, brief moments of movement, and a constant conversation with temperature, wind, and sound. Near dawn, when the eastern horizon begins to pale and the stars slowly retreat, the fennec fox returns toward the den. The sand holds the memory of coolness. The sky lightens gradually. The fox slips back underground, where the air is shaded and calm. There it curls once more into a small resting shape, ears no longer raised high, tail wrapped near the body. While outside, the desert prepares for another bright day. Hidden below the surface, the fox sleeps, carrying the softness of the night into morning. Quokkas. On islands off the coast of Western Australia, in places where low shrubs meet sandy paths and sea air moves gently through grasses and small trees, quokkas live quiet lives shaped by foraging, resting, and moving through the mild light of evening and early morning. Their faces, often seeming to hold a relaxed and friendly expression, have made them famous far beyond their home. Yet the quokka itself remains a simple, grounded animal, content with leaves, shade, and familiar pathways. A quokka is a small marsupial with rounded ears, dark, bright eyes, a blunt little nose, and compact, strong legs. Its fur is brownish-gray, soft in texture and practical in tone, blending well with scrub and earth. The body is sturdy rather than delicate, built for hopping over low ground and moving steadily through vegetation. Its movements are not hurried. Even when it hops, there is a gentle rhythm to it, a spring and settle, as if every motion is cushioned. Quokkas often rest during the warmer parts of the day. In shade beneath shrubs or among dense vegetation, they settle into stillness, allowing the day to pass quietly around them. Wind moves overhead. Insects hum faintly in the distance. Sunlight shifts from one angle to another. The quokka remains tucked into cool shelter, conserving energy, waiting for softer hours. Rest is part of its landscape, not an interruption to it. When the light becomes milder, quokkas begin to emerge and feed. They browse on grasses, leaves, and stems, moving close to the ground and pausing often. The setting is one of low textures and gentle detail. Sandy soil, salt-touched air, coastal shrubs, dry stems, and soft green patches that catch evening dew. A quokka moves through this world with calm familiarity. It does not seem to be crossing great distances. It is simply living within a known and comfortable range. The islands where quokkas are most closely associated can feel peaceful, even to imagine. There are paths winding between brush and low trees. There are open patches where sunlight lingers late in the day. There are places where the sound of the sea is near, but not overwhelming, where waves can be heard as a far, slow breath beyond the land. In such places, the quokka seems entirely at home, a small, steady presence among plants shaped by salt wind and bright skies. As a marsupial, the quokka begins life in the pouch, carried close to the mother's body in warmth and security. This early closeness gives the story of the animal an especially sheltered beginning. Later, the young emerge into the wider world, but always gradually, stepping from body warmth into leaf shade, from pouch darkness into filtered light. The pace is gentle, as though the animal's life has been calm from the very start. Quokkas are social enough to share overlapping spaces, and in a quiet feeding area, one may imagine several of them moving through the vegetation, each focused on its own patch of grass or stem, each at ease within the rhythm of the group. There is no need for noise. There is only the soft sound of small bodies shifting through plants, the tiny pause before a hop, the stillness that follows. Their strong hind legs allow them to hop, but also to settle quickly and comfortably. A a quokka can pause in a way that makes the entire scene feel slower. It lowers itself slightly. It chews. It looks around without urgency. It resumes grazing. This sequence may repeat many times as evening deepens. The repetition is soothing because nothing dramatic interrupts it. The world remains what it was a moment ago, safe, mild, and grounded. One of the most calming things about the quokka is the feeling that its life is lived close to simple needs. Shade when the sun is high, food when the air cools, rest in familiar shelter, movement through known paths. The animal does not seem built for excess or spectacle. It seems built for balance with its small corner of the coastal world. Even the expression that humans so often find charming is really just part of that gentle structure, a face resting naturally in a soft shape. As night settles over the island landscape, the sounds grow quieter. The sea remains in the distance. The air cools a little more. Quokkas continue to browse or pause beneath shrubs and along open ground, their rounded forms moving in and out of dim light. Then, little by little, they settle again. Bodies lower. Movement stops. The land becomes still around them. Under a sky darkening toward stars, the quokka rests within the coastal hush, small and calm and entirely at peace in the low breathing quiet of the island. Koalas. In eucalyptus woodlands where silver-green leaves hang quietly in warm air and tree trunks rise with patient vertical grace, koalas spend much of their lives in a state of deep and deliberate rest. They are animals of still branches, slow blinking eyes, and soft woolly fur. To think of a koala is to think of a creature whose entire way of being seems to grant permission for stillness. A koala's body is shaped for holding and resting. Its limbs are strong, built to climb and grip. Its hands and feet are adapted to branches, with digits arranged for secure grasping. Its fur is thick and plush, gray with touches of white and brown, and its ears are rounded and fluffy, framing a broad, dark nose that gives the face its familiar, gentle look. When a koala settles into the fork of a tree, it looks as though it has found the place it was always meant to be. Koalas sleep and rest for many hours each day. Their diet of eucalyptus leaves provides limited energy, and so their lives are arranged around conservation. In this, there is something profoundly soothing. The koala does not resist its need for quiet. It leans into it. It drapes itself across a branch or nestles into a trunk, allowing the tree to support its weight. Forearms fold loosely, eyes close. Breathing becomes the smallest visible motion. The eucalyptus woodland around a resting koala has its own subtle atmosphere. Leaves shift in faint breezes with a dry, whispering sound. Light dapples bark and earth. The scent of eucalyptus carries clean and cool through warm air. Birds may call in the distance, but even those calls seem softened by space. The tree canopy filters brightness into gentler patterns, and high among the branches, a koala remains unmoving, part of the still architecture of the woodland. When it wakes, a koala does not wake quickly. Its eyes open slowly. Its head lifts with measured effort. One limb stretches. Claws adjust their hold on bark. Then, after a pause that may seem almost meditative, it begins to climb. The climb itself is steady and thoughtful. The koala does not waste movement. It knows how to navigate trunks and branches, where to reach, where to lean, how to position the body securely in the next resting fork. Feeding is equally calm. The koala selects eucalyptus leaves with care. drawing them toward the mouth and chewing slowly. The action is rhythmic and soft. Leaves bend and disappear one by one. There is a long pause, then another leaf. The tree continues to sway very slightly in the breeze. The koala continues to eat without hurry, wrapped in the scent of the very leaves that sustain it. Mother koalas carry their joeys close, first in the pouch and later on the back. A joey tucked against its mother or clinging to her fur high in the branches adds another layer of tenderness to the woodland scene. The mother climbs carefully. The joey watches, learns, and rests. Their closeness turns the high branches into a place not only of feeding and sleep, but of quiet trust. Because koalas spend so much time in trees, the world from their perspective is one of filtered views and elevated calm. The ground below is distant. The sky above is broken gently by leaves. Wind moves differently in the canopy, not rushing, but passing through in waves. A koala in this setting seems to inhabit a slower level of time. Hours pass in shade and leaf movement. The sun shifts. The trunk stays cool or grows warm. The animal remains centered in its place. Even the sounds made by koalas are rarely part of the image people hold when thinking of them at rest. What remains in the restful picture is their silence, their habit of leaning into tree forks, their fur touched by sunlight, their paws curved securely around bark, their faces relaxed into sleep. They are one of the clearest examples in nature of how stillness can be a full and complete way of living. Not an absence of life, but an expression of life perfectly tuned to its environment. As evening comes to a eucalyptus woodland, shadows lengthen between trunks, and the leaves lose their bright edge, becoming darker, silver-green shapes against the dimming air. A koala may shift to another branch, choose a fresh cluster of leaves, chew slowly, and then settle again. The tree holds its warm, rounded body. The woodland cools. The sky softens. Night approaches in layers of quiet, and the koala, resting among scented leaves and pale bark, seems to enter it without resistance. Sloths. In tropical forests where vines hang in soft loops and broad leaves gather rainwater in shining pockets, sloths move through the canopy with such extraordinary slowness that they appear almost like a thought, taking shape in green light. They are animals of unbroken calm, of measured limbs, of upside-down rest and quiet fur touched by mossy color. Everything about the sloth suggests patience. A sloth hangs beneath branches with curved claws that hold securely without strain. Its body is rounded and shaggy. Its face is gentle, often giving the impression of a faint, relaxed smile simply because of the arrangement of its features. Its movements are deliberate to an almost dreamlike degree. An arm reaches, a claw hooks. Weight shifts slowly, then the other arm follows. What might be a brief motion for another animal becomes, in a sloth, a long and careful sequence. The tropical canopy is a suitable place for such a creature because it is layered, sheltered, and full of suspended quiet. Leaves overlap to create shade. Light filters down in green-gold tones. Moisture hangs in the air. Insects hum softly. Rain may begin as a faint tapping overhead long before it reaches lower layers of the forest. A sloth lives inside this vertical world as though it has all the time the forest can offer. Much of a sloth's life is spent resting. It sleeps and remains still for long periods, conserving energy and blending into the shapes of branches and leaves. Its fur can host small organisms, creating subtle greenish tones that help it merge with the surrounding foliage. This makes the sloth seem even more like part of the forest itself, as if the tree and the animal are sharing one slow surface of life. Feeding, when it happens, is patient. A sloth selects leaves and draws them toward the mouth in calm intervals. Chewing is slow. Digestion is slow. Movement after feeding is slow. Yet none of this feels incomplete. It feels consistent, as though every part of the sloth's body and every part of the forest canopy are in agreement about the pace of life that belongs there. Rain is one of the gentlest settings in which to imagine a sloth. Drops collect on leaves and slide from tip to tip. The canopy darkens slightly. Mist rises from trunks and vines. The sloth remains in place, fur dampened by the humid air, claws hooked securely, body suspended in complete trust. Around it, the forest breathes with water. Nothing needs to change quickly. The rain comes, the rain passes, the sloth continues. A sloth descending from the canopy is a rare and striking image because it emphasizes just how committed the animal is to slowness. The movement down a trunk is careful and quiet, each hold tested, each shift deliberate. The forest floor, when reached, is approached without panic. Then, once the need has passed, the sloth returns upward, back into leaf shade and branch cradle. Even this unusual journey is folded into the same calm rhythm. Young sloths begin life clinging to their mothers, held against the body as she moves through the trees. In that closeness, there is a deep sense of safety. The infant learns the canopy as a place of support and shelter. It learns the textures of fur, branch, leaf, and warm air. It learns that movement can be slow and still be enough. The sounds of a sloth's world are beautifully muted. Rain on leaves, a distant bird call, the small friction of fur against bark, the subtle shake of a branch settling after a shift in weight. These are not sounds that stir the body to alertness. They are sounds that let the mind soften. A sloth within that soundscape becomes almost like a center point around which the rest of the forest turns gently. As daylight fades in the tropical canopy, the leaves become darker shapes against a dim sky filtered through layers of green. A sloth remains where it is, suspended beneath a branch, breathing evenly. Perhaps one limb adjusts slightly. Perhaps a leaf is drawn nearer for one last slow bite. Then stillness deepens. The forest hum continues. Moist air rests on every surface. The sloth hangs quietly in the warm green dusk, held by branch and rhythm and time itself. Puffins. On cool northern coasts where cliffs rise above the sea and the air smells of salt and stone, puffins spend their seasons between water, sky, and burrow. They are small seabirds with compact bodies, black and white plumage, bright feet, and distinctive bills that stand out like painted shapes against the wind-softened landscape. Yet beyond their striking appearance, puffins live lives full of quiet routine, repeated flights, patient nesting, and long hours at sea. A puffin standing near the entrance of its burrow on a grassy cliff seems both delicate and sturdy. The body is neatly balanced. The feet grip earth and rock. The feathers lie smooth against the rounded shape. Wind moves over the cliff face, carrying the cries of distant birds and the constant low murmur of the ocean below. The puffin blinks, turns its head, and remains where it is, at ease in a place shaped by weather and horizon. Many puffins nest in burrows dug into grassy soil atop coastal cliffs or slopes. These burrows create hidden chambers where eggs and chicks are sheltered from wind and open exposure. There's something especially comforting in this contrast between the wide, exposed sea and the tucked-away softness of a burrow. A puffin may spend part of its day in the open air, facing sky and surf, and part of it in a small enclosed tunnel lined with earth and quiet darkness. In flight, puffins move with quick wing beats, but even this can be imagined peacefully when seen from a distance. Small black and white shapes arc over the water. They pass above waves and return toward the cliff. Their paths are purposeful, linking sea and nest, open water and hidden home. The repetition of this journey, made again and again during the nesting season, gives puffin life a steady pattern. At sea, puffins float lightly on the surface, bobbing on swells much the way sea otters do, though in a different form. They ride the water between dives, small and compact, turning with the surface rather than resisting it. The sea around them reflects gray sky, or blue sky, or evening light, depending on the hour. In each case, the bird appears calm, held by a surface always moving, yet always able to support it. Puffins dive for fish with clean precision, using wings underwater in ways that make them seem briefly at home in two elements at once. Yet, the image remains gentle when imagined in slow motion. A bird floating, dipping below, then resurfacing with a glimmer of silver in its bill, before returning to its quiet route along the coast. There is effort, yes, but it is folded into routine, not drama. On breeding cliffs, puffins live among neighbors, but the scene can still feel restful because the space is full of repeated natural order. Burrow entrances dot the grassy ground. Birds arrive and depart. Feet shuffle over earth. Bills touch briefly. Wind bends the grasses. The sea keeps sounding below. Each bird is busy with its own small cycle, and together they create a soft pattern of coastal life. The cliffs themselves contribute greatly to the calm of the scene. Grass on top, stone below, waves at the base, sky beyond. It is a simple arrangement, large and open, and a puffin belongs to it perfectly. The bird's body is small enough to seem sheltered by every tuft of grass, yet strong enough to travel over large stretches of sea. That balance between smallness and capability is part of what makes puffins so gentle to think about. A puffin chick grows in darkness and shelter, fed in the safety of the burrow. The parents arrive and depart with patience, carrying fish back from the sea. Inside the burrow, the world is muted, protected by earth from wind and glare. Outside, waves continue their endless movement. The young bird's life begins where quiet enclosure meets vast open coast. Toward evening, the light along a northern shore can become soft and pearly. The grass cools. The sea reflects the sky in muted bands. Puffins stand at burrow entrances or float just offshore, their bodies outlined gently against water and stone. Wing beats slow into stillness. Heads tuck slightly. The coastal wind softens with the fading day. And there, in the long northern light, the puffin remains a small, calm note between cliff and ocean. Little penguins. Along the shores of southern Australia and New Zealand, where small waves fold onto sand and stone, and the evening light lingers low over the water. Little penguins return from the sea in one of the most quietly charming movements in the natural world. They are the smallest penguins, blue-gray across the back, pale beneath, neat in shape and low to the ground, like tiny figures designed for moonlit shorelines and cool sea breezes. By day, little penguins spend time at sea, swimming and diving through coastal waters. By evening, many return to land, often in groups, approaching the shore as the light fades. In the soft dusk, one can imagine small forms appearing at the edge of the water, waiting, gathering, and then moving forward with that unmistakable penguin gait, purposeful yet endearing, steady and close to the earth. Their feathers are sleek and waterproof, holding warmth close during time in cool water. Their flippers guide them smoothly below the surface, where they travel with efficiency and grace. But on land, they become another kind of beautiful, compact, upright, and careful, making their way over sand, rock, or grassy paths toward burrows and nesting places hidden inland from the beach. The coastal setting suits them well for sleep narration. There's always the sound of water, never far away. There's the hush of wave after wave arriving and retreating. There is salt in the air, coolness in the breeze, and a broad, darkening sky overhead. The penguins move through this space with routine. They know the path from sea to shore, from shore to colony, from colony to burrow. Their lives are guided by repeated return. Many little penguins nest in burrows, crevices, or sheltered spaces where the body can rest out of wind and weather. Within these spaces, the world becomes small and protected. Outside is the long line of coast and the breathing sea. Inside is a chamber of earth, feather, and quiet. The contrast gives their life a soothing rhythm: open water and enclosed rest, wide horizon, and hidden home. When little penguins gather before coming ashore, there can be a sense of companionship in the water. They drift near one another, turning in the swell, waiting for the right moment. Then they move as a group, crossing the final stretch and stepping onto land. Even when many are present, the scene remains gentle because each penguin is simply following an old pattern, one evening repeated after another. Their movements inland can be slow enough to feel almost ceremonial. A pause, a few steps, another pause. Heads turn, bodies lean slightly forward, feet place themselves carefully. The colony paths become familiar routes trodden by generations, and each returning bird seems to fit into the land as neatly as if the dusk itself had shaped the way. Young little penguins begin life in sheltered nesting places, attended by adults who return with food from the sea. In the burrow, the chick experiences a world of muffled sounds, distant waves, soft movements, the brushing of feathers, the nearness of other bodies. The sea, for all its width, becomes something reassuring because it is the place from which care returns. On nights when the moon rises over the water, the path between sea and shore glows faintly. The penguins' blue-gray backs become silvered, the rocks along the coast cool under the night air. The colony settles. Some birds have already disappeared into burrows. Others are still making their way inland with patient steps. Their quiet procession feels timeless, as if the coast has been welcoming them this way for longer than memory can measure. As the night deepens and the shoreline grows darker, the waves remain audible, and now and then, a little penguin may still be imagined crossing from one patch of moonlit ground to another before vanishing into the shelter of its nest. There, tucked within earth and darkness, the smallest of penguins rests while the sea continues its low, endless conversation with the shore. Hedgehogs. In hedgerows, gardens, woodland edges, in quiet, grassy places where dusk softens the outlines of leaves and stones, hedgehogs begin their slow evening journeys with noses low to the ground and small, careful feet moving through the undergrowth. They are animals of night and rustle, of rounded bodies and gentle persistence, carrying a world of scent and texture close to the earth. A hedgehog's shape is immediately comforting in its own unusual way. The back is covered in protective spines, yet the face is soft, with small dark eyes, rounded ears, and a pointed nose, constantly testing the air. The underside is furred, the legs are short, the whole body is low and compact, made for moving beneath plants, through fallen leaves, and along edges where one surface meets another. Though hedgehogs are active animals when they forage, their world is so small-scale that it remains calming to imagine. A journey is measured in feet and inches rather than miles. A patch of grass is an environment. A log is a boundary. A line of shrubs is a corridor. The hedgehog travels through a close and detailed landscape where the sounds are intimate. A leaf turning over, a stem brushing against spines, a soft sniffing breath, a tiny footfall on soil. By day, a hedgehog rests in a nest hidden among leaves, grass, or other ground cover. There, curled into a ball or tucked into a sheltered shape, it remains unseen while daylight passes over the garden or woodland edge above. The nest is dry, close, and protective, made from gathered plant material that turns ordinary leaves into a chamber of rest. This habit of hiding away through bright hours makes the hedgehog feel especially suited to the quiet company of evening. When it emerges at dusk, it does so into a softened world. The light is lower, the air is cooler, scents rise from the soil, dew begins to gather. The hedgehog moves through this change in atmosphere with calm continuity. It sniffs, pauses, and continues, finding insects and other small foods without hurry. Nothing about its movement suggests panic. It is simply busy in a small and steady way. One of the most peaceful things to imagine is a hedgehog crossing a garden at night while everything else is still. The silhouettes of flowers and stems stand quietly in the dark. A wooden fence holds the edge of the space. Perhaps somewhere nearby, there's the faint sound of water or the distant rustle of a tree. Near the ground, almost hidden by shadow, the hedgehog advances, pausing every few steps to smell the air and the earth. In colder seasons, hedgehogs may enter hibernation, tucked into nests built for insulation and shelter. This long seasonal rest fits perfectly with their already hidden and quiet way of life. Leaves gather above them. Soil holds steady temperatures around them. The outside world changes gradually while inside the nest, the hedgehog remains protected in stillness. The image is deeply restful. A small animal sleeping through cold months beneath a blanket of natural materials. Young hedgehogs remain close to the nest in the early part of life, learning the ground-level world from the beginning. The safety of leaf cover, the shelter of thick grass, the nearness of the mother's body and scent, all shape a childhood rooted in hidden spaces. It is not a life lived in open display. It is a life lived in small protected rooms made by the land itself. A hedgehog's night is often full of repetition. Sniff, step, pause, rustle, turn, continue. The same sequence returns again and again, and because it returns without alarm, it becomes soothing to follow in the mind. There is comfort in such modest routines, in an animal that asks so little of the world beyond darkness, shelter, and a little food among the leaves. Near dawn, as the air cools further and the sky begins its slow change from black to gray, the hedgehog returns to cover. It disappears beneath brush, under a hedge, or into a nest hidden so completely that the coming day will pass without revealing it. There, it curls into rest once more, tucked away from brightness and noise, while outside the garden or woodland edge brightens gently into morning. Red pandas. Again, the mountain forest gathers around the branches in layers of mist and green. And again, the red panda belongs to it with quiet certainty. There is lichen on the bark, cool moisture on leaves, and that muted mountain hush in which every sound seems softened before it travels. A red panda steps into view, not with spectacle, but with the same calm precision the forest seems to ask of all who live there. Its fur glows warmly against the dim tones of moss and branch, a mixture of russet, chestnut, and pale markings that brighten the deep woodland without disturbing it. The face is neat and expressive, framed by white and cream. The ears are small, rounded cups turned toward the sounds of the canopy. The tail flows behind in gentle rings, a soft, balancing line that makes each careful movement through the trees feel complete. Rest remains central to the red panda's life. A branch fork becomes a bed, a hollow becomes a refuge. The animal curls around itself and lets the tail cover part of the body like a cloak. In this position, it seems less like a restless forest creature and more like a piece of living warmth resting among wet bark and cool air. Hours can pass this way, the forest changing light while the red panda stays folded into comfort. When it does move, it moves as though nothing in the forest needs to be rushed. One paw touches bark, weight shifts, the body flows along a branch. The ankles rotate to allow careful descent down a trunk. This particular adaptation, so helpful in climbing headfirst, feels almost elegant in its hidden practicality. The red panda's body knows the architecture of trees in detail. Bamboo remains a quiet anchor in its life. Tender shoots, young leaves, and other plant foods are gathered slowly, chewed slowly, and folded into a day already shaped by conservation. Because the food offers only moderate energy, the red panda's whole existence is tuned towards steadiness rather than excess. It rests because resting fits its needs. It feeds without hurry because hurry would not serve the rhythm of its body. The mountain forest itself helps deepen the calm. Ferns spread across damp ground. Fallen leaves hold the memory of earlier rain. Mist threads between trunks in pale, drifting bands. Sometimes the clouds sink so low that the canopy seems suspended between earth and sky. In such a place, a red panda can disappear and reappear by simply moving around a trunk or through a cluster of leaves. There are moments of grooming here as well, tiny acts of order in the middle of the forest day. A forepaw is licked and raised to the face. Fur is straightened. Ears are smoothed. The animal pauses between these gestures, sitting upright for a moment with an almost thoughtful stillness. Then, another measured stroke across the face. Another pause. Another return to rest. Red pandas are often solitary, and the solitude suits the landscape. The forest is not empty, but it is spacious enough in feeling for one animal to move through a private network of branches and scent marks. Its world is known through repetition. Certain trunks certain pathways, certain feeding spots, certain sheltered places above the ground. Familiarity makes the trees feel even more gentle. Young red pandas, tucked in nests among hollows and roots in sheltered tree spaces, begin life in hidden quiet. Their first world is warm and enclosed. Their mother returns with the forest on her fur, the smell of bark and bamboo and cool air carried back to the nest. The tenderness of this early life seems to echo later in the way adult red pandas continue to seek sheltered branches and restful positions high above the forest floor. As late afternoon turns toward evening, the light becomes softer still. The mountain air cools. Moisture gathers again on branch tips. A red panda settles, with its tail wound near the body, face resting low, eyes narrowing into sleep. Around it, the forest breathes in mist and leaf movement. Nothing presses forward. Nothing demands sharp attention. There is only the quiet animal in the quiet tree, warm against the coolness of the mountain woods. Sea otters. Once more, the coast opens into a broad calm of water, kelp, and moving light, and once more sea otters float where the ocean itself seems willing to cradle them. The surface rises and falls beneath each body in slow intervals. Farther out, the water darkens. Closer to shore, it turns glassy between ribbons of kelp. Above it all, the sky holds shifting cloud and pale light that seems to breathe with the sea. A sea otter on its back is an image of complete ease. The paws rest softly against the chest. The whiskers fan outward. The nose points slightly toward the sky. Even the smallest roll of the body as the swell passes feels relaxed, as if the animal has agreed to let the water decide the shape of every moment. In that surrender, there is a deep calm. The fur remains the secret of this floating life. Dense and carefully tended, it traps warmth and allows the otter to remain in cold water without losing comfort. That is why so much time returns to grooming. Paws move methodically through the coat. The body twists, rolls, and smooths itself. Air is worked into fur. Salt water is part of the process. Repetition is part of the process. Care becomes rhythm. When an otter wraps itself in kelp to rest, the ocean scene becomes especially quiet in feeling. The kelp moves with the current, but not too far. It rises beside the body, crosses lightly over it, and keeps it near one place while sleep approaches. Around the otter, the kelp forest stretches down into green-brown water, long, flexible stems swaying with every underwater motion. Above, the body drifts in place like a small raft of warmth. Diving, feeding, and surfacing continue in a pattern that is never abrupt. The otter slips below the surface, leaving a widening ring. For a moment, there is only water and reflection. Then it returns, perhaps with a shellfish, perhaps simply with a breath, and settles again onto its back. The chest becomes a work surface. The forepaws become tools. The stone becomes an object of use, and the sea continues to hold everything up. Mother and pup scenes deepen the sense of gentleness. A pup floating on the surface seems almost too light for the sea, its fur keeping it buoyant like a small cushion of brown cloud. The mother returns from dives, touches, grooms, and adjusts the pup's position. The ocean is wide, but the care is close and immediate. In that closeness, the water feels less open and more like part of a nursery. Groups of otters resting together are another coastal kind of quiet. Bodies drift within the same patch of water. One face turns, another paw lifts. A length of kelp slides slowly across the surface between them. No one rushes. The waves do not rush. The horizon stays level in the distance. The whole scene seems built from the idea that rest can happen even in motion. The shoreline contributes its own soft sounds. Small breakers fold and unfold over pebbles. Tidal pools settle after each wave. Gulls pass far overhead. Wind crosses the top of the water in faint textures. The otters remain just beyond the nearest foam line or farther out among kelp beds, small dark shapes drifting in a living pattern of rise and fall. Late in the day, the water often becomes quieter in tone, taking on blue, gray, and silver. The kelp appears darker. The coast cools. Otters groom once more, roll, stretch, and settle. The sea continues exactly as it has, breathing in broad horizontal motions. Night comes slowly to the water, and the otter, warm in its carefully kept fur, continues to float in complete trust between salt and sky. Fennec foxes. Again, the desert releases the day's heat and becomes a landscape of cool sand and moonlit openness. The fennec fox waits below ground while the last warmth drains from the surface, and then, when the hour is right, it rises into a world made softer by darkness. The dunes no longer glare. The horizon no longer shimmers. The night takes the desert and turns it into a place of delicate sound and pale light. The fox emerges from its burrow with ears already attentive to the air. Those wide ears gather the smallest stirrings from the landscape. A movement in dry grass, the faint scrape of something beneath sand, the whisper of wind against a low ridge. The fox listens before it steps. Then it moves, lightly and precisely, its fur matching the sand so closely that it seems made from the same tones as the dunes themselves. Its body is compact, soft-looking, and beautifully adapted. Fur covers the feet, protecting them from the ground. The tail balances the turns and pauses. The eyes catch low light. The ears not only hear, but help release heat, a quiet detail of desert life, built into the very shape of the animal. Every part of the fox belongs to a place where comfort comes from careful adaptation. The burrow behind it remains a memory of safety. Beneath the sand, there are chambers of cooler air and close darkness, a hidden home against sun and exposure. The thought of the fox returning there after its night wanderings adds a peaceful frame to everything it does above ground. The desert may be wide, but the fox is never without refuge. As it moves across the surface, the night around it stays spacious and calm. Stars spread overhead in great numbers. Dry stems cast faint shadows. Dunes curve like sleeping waves. The fox pauses often, and each pause seems to widen the silence rather than disturb it. It lifts its nose. It turns one ear. It waits. Then it continues, leaving a fine dotted path of prints behind it. Food comes from many small discoveries: a root, an insect, a fruit, a hidden morsel found through scent and sound. The fox searches without frenzy. It is an explorer of details rather than distances. The desert offers enough to those who know how to read it closely, and the fennec fox reads it through footfall, vibration, scent, and cool air passing over fur. Family life remains tucked inside the image of the den. Pups, sheltered in underground rooms, begin their lives in softness and shade, while adults move above them beneath stars. The boundary between open night and enclosed home gives the fox's world a comforting rhythm. It goes out and it returns. It listens in the open and it sleeps in the earth. The textures of the night desert are subtle and deeply restful. Sand shifts almost silently. A breeze traces the crest of a dune. Small plants hold still in the moonlight. The fox itself seems woven from these textures, never too loud in motion, never separate from the land. It is not merely crossing the desert. It is moving inside a wide field of quiet. Near the hour before dawn, the fox turns back. The eastern sky is only slightly paler, but enough to tell the desert that morning is approaching. Step by step, it returns to the burrow, disappears below the surface, and curls into the calm interior where the day cannot yet reach. Above, light will rise. Below, the fox will sleep in cool shade, folded into rest while the dunes wait for another evening. Quokkas. Once more, the island pathways lie between shrubs and low trees, and once more the quokka moves through them with mild certainty. The sea is nearby, but softened by distance. The plants are low, wind-shaped and familiar. The air carries both dryness and salt. In this compact coastal world, the quokka's rounded body and gentle pace seem perfectly at home. Its dark eyes reflect the lowering light. Its small ears turn without urgency. Its strong hind legs allow it to hop across open spaces and then settle immediately into stillness. Its forepaws touch the ground lightly as it lowers its head to feed. The movements are compact, economical, and calm. Nothing about the quokka feels excessive. It fits the scale of the island with quiet precision. Shade remains important during warm hours. Beneath scrub and thicker growth, the quokka rests with the day passing around it. Shadows shift. Leaves flicker. Heat slowly loosens. The animal remains tucked in shelter, where coolness and stillness are enough. It does not need more than that. Its life is organized around these modest and restful needs. When evening stretches out over the island, the quokka emerges to browse. It moves through grasses and small plants with a kind of peaceful focus, chewing stems and leaves slowly, then pausing as if the pause itself is part of feeding. The earth underfoot is sandy in places, firmer in others. Low shrubs create pockets of shadow. The sea wind passes through occasionally, carrying a far salt freshness into the plants. The coastal island setting stays gentle in imagination because it is never crowded with sensation. There is room between one sound and the next. A distant wave, a stem moving, a tiny hop, the chewing of leaves. The quokka lives among these small intervals. It turns them into routine. It crosses the same sorts of paths each evening, guided by familiarity more than urgency. Its marsupial beginning remains one of the softest details of its life story. To begin in a pouch is to begin in warmth, darkness, and the close rhythm of the mother's movement. Later, as the young animal explores the island, that early sense of carried safety seems to remain in the way quokkas continue to stay near cover, near known spaces, near the gentle boundaries of their habitat. Sometimes more than one quokka may be imagined in the same quiet clearing, each moving separately yet comfortably within the same area. One feeds, another pauses beneath a shrub, a third crosses a path and disappears into low vegetation. Their lives overlap without noise. The island holds them all in one mild coastal stillness. The more one imagines the quokka, the more it seems like a creature made from soft repetition. Hop, pause, lower the head, chew, lift the head, look briefly, hop again, then settle into rest once more when the night deepens. These are not dramatic events. They're the gentle mechanics of an animal fully matched to a peaceful place. And as darkness arrives more fully over the island, the outlines of shrubs become deeper, the air grows cooler, and the sea sound remains low and constant beyond the vegetation. The quokka lowers itself into shelter, rounded and still, nearby paths empty of movement. The night wraps around the small coastal world, and the quokka rests inside it as naturally as a stone warming in the last memory of the day. Koalas. Again, the eucalyptus branches spread in quiet layers. And again, a koala is settled among them as though rest were the simplest and most correct thing in the world. The tree fork supports the body. The bark presses lightly against fur. The leaves hang overhead with their dry, silver-green hush. Even before sleep begins, the scene feels already asleep in spirit. The koala's body remains made for holding and for being held. Curved claws keep contact with the branch. The broad nose faces outward, or lowers gently toward the chest. The ears form soft, rounded edges against the leaves. Thick fur catches the woodland light and turns it into muted gray softness. A tree becomes both seat and shelter at once. Long hours of rest continue to shape the koala's day. This is not laziness, but a fitting response to a slow and specialized way of feeding. The leaves it eats ask for conservation, and the koala answers by giving itself fully to stillness. To watch it in the mind is to watch an animal that has accepted rest as a central truth rather than a brief interruption. The woodland around it contributes to that truth. The scent of eucalyptus drifts through warm air. Insects murmur softly. Dappled light shifts with the sun. Branches creak faintly now and then. No sharp edge enters the scene. Everything arrives already softened by leaves and distance. The koala sleeps within this softness as though it were another layer of the tree. When wakefulness returns, it comes gently. A blink, a small adjustment of grip, a slow stretch through the shoulders. Then the koala turns toward a fresh cluster of leaves. Its feeding remains deliberate, each leaf chosen, pulled close, and chewed in measured rhythm. The tree offers food exactly where it also offers support, and that union of shelter and nourishment makes the woodland feel especially kind. A mother with a joey adds warmth to the image once more. The little one clings close, learning the branch world from the security of the adult body. Both remain high in the tree, moving carefully from one resting place to another. The joey's world is one of fur, bark, leaf scent, and unhurried ascent. It is a childhood suspended in filtered light. The view from a koala's level is never rushed. Trunks rise and divide. Leaves overlap and part. Patches of sky appear between them. Wind moves in waves through the canopy. Time seems measured by changes in light more than by action. The koala belongs to that scale completely. It is a woodland animal that turns trees into quiet rooms above the ground. Evening makes these rooms darker and softer. The leaves lose brightness and become silhouettes. The trunk cools slightly. The air grows easier to breathe after the day's warmth. A koala may shift to a different branch, lower its body, and close its eyes again. The eucalyptus scent remains, the branch remains, the calm remains, and the woodland enters night without ever seeming to wake from its own long, gentle drowsiness. Sloths. Again, the tropical canopy hangs in warm layers of leaf and vine. And again, the sloth moves within it so slowly that the movement barely separates itself from stillness. It is one of the clearest examples in nature of how gentleness can be a full way of existing. Nothing in its body seems built for haste. Everything suggests patient contact with branch, air, and time. Suspended beneath a limb, the sloth lets gravity become part of rest. Curved claws hold without visible effort. Fur hangs softly toward the earth. The face remains relaxed. Around it, the forest is full of diffuse sound. Faraway birds, faint insects, a leaf dropping somewhere below, wind touching the outer canopy. The sloth is not the source of disturbance in this soundscape. It is the quiet center of it. Its fur, sometimes tinged with green from tiny living companions that share its coat, helps it blend with the canopy in a way that feels almost magical. The line between animal and branch seems thinner in a sloth than in most creatures. It hangs there like a slowly breathing piece of the forest itself, not separate from the leaves, but accepted by them. Feeding continues with unbroken patience. A limb reaches. Leaves are drawn inward. The mouth works steadily. Then comes another pause, as important as the bite itself. Digestion, movement, and rest all happen at the same measured pace. The sloth is not trying to keep up with the forest. It is moving at exactly the pace one hidden layer of the forest requires. Rain returns as one of the most soothing ways to imagine the scene. Water darkens bark and leaf veins. Droplets gather and fall from broad tips in slow intervals. Mist hovers between trunks. The sloth remains suspended, unmoved by the passing shower, except perhaps for a slight darkening of its fur. The forest becomes quieter under rain, and the sloth becomes quieter with it. A mother carrying a young one adds another small warmth to the green world. The infant clings close to the adult body, learning branch routes through contact rather than speed. Canopy becomes nursery, passageway, and resting chamber all at once. The lesson is consistent from the beginning. Hold on, move slowly, trust the branch. The sounds remain close and soft. A branch settles, a vine sways, water drips. The sloth shifts one limb, and even that tiny act feels like a continuation of the forest's own motion rather than an interruption. Hours can pass in this suspended calm. Light filters from gold green to dimmer green. The animal continues to hang, breathe, and belong. When evening arrives, the canopy turns deeper and more shadowed. The air stays warm, but the brightness drains from the leaves. A sloth lowers its head slightly, adjusts its hold, and enters a deeper stillness. The forest remains full, but unhurried. The branch remains firm, and the sloth, hanging in the cradle of the tropical dusk, continues its slow life without any sharp boundary between wakefulness and rest. Puffins. Again, the northern cliff meets the sea with grass above and stone below. And again, the puffin stands near its burrow, or drifts on the water, with the calm assurance of a bird, shaped equally by coast and ocean. The wind crosses the cliff face in cool, steady streams. The sea sends up its endless low sound. The bird's small body keeps its place within this broad and simple arrangement. Its plumage remains neat and clear against the coast, dark above, pale below, with that bright bill lending color to the gray-green world of cliff and water. Yet, even the vivid bill does not disturb the calm. It appears simply as another natural accent in a landscape of stone, grass, and sky. The puffin turns its head, it blinks, it stands at ease, burrows continue to make the life of the puffin feel sheltered. Dug into soft soil among grasses, they create rooms hidden from wind and from the open exposure of the cliff top. A puffin may step in and vanish almost immediately, exchanged from open coast into earthen stillness. The transition is comforting every time it is imagined. Horizon outside, enclosure inside. At sea, the puffin floats lightly on swells, body lifted and lowered by the water. It may dive and return, carrying the silver line of fish in its bill before heading back toward land. That repeated route from feeding grounds to burrow gives the bird's day a structure that feels orderly and dependable. It leaves, it returns. The sea and the cliff are linked by its flight again and again. On the breeding cliffs, there may be many other birds, but the atmosphere remains spacious because the landscape itself is spacious. The grassy top spreads under the sky. The stone drops to the sea. The wind keeps moving through everything. Puffins arrive and depart in small arcs, each one absorbed in the modest duties of nest and mate and meal. Their busyness remains soft because it is so patterned. A chick hidden in the burrow experiences the coast at first as muffled presence, footsteps above, the passing of adults, the breathing sound of the sea carried through soil. The outer world is vast, but the inner world is small and protected. That combination gives puffin life a tender balance between exposure and shelter, travel and return. As evening leans over the northern shore, the sea becomes steel blue or pearl gray. The grasses cool in color. The puffin near the burrow entrance grows still, tucked into the cliff top with complete naturalness. Another floats just offshore, rising and falling with the long water. Neither seems hurried by the fading light. The day can end slowly here. The bird can remain exactly where it is, quietly held between wind and ocean. Little penguins. Again, the southern shoreline waits at dusk, and again, the little penguins gather beyond the surf before returning home. The sea is low and rhythmic. The sky dims through lavender, silver, and blue. The beach cools. Small waves arrive with regular softness. Into that gentle hour, the smallest penguins make their steady evening way. Their blue-gray backs blend beautifully with the last light on the water. Their pale undersides catch what remains of brightness. On land, they move in short, determined steps, bodies tilted slightly forward, each foot placed carefully. Seen from a distance, the procession can feel like a line of tiny shadows animated by purpose, but wrapped in complete harmlessness. The route from water to burrow remains one of the loveliest rhythms in coastal nature. First, the penguins wait together in the shallows. Then, they cross the open stretch. Then, they begin to walk inland. The pattern repeats from evening to evening, creating a sense of return that is as soothing as a tide. Home is known. The path is known. Dusk is the signal. In their burrows or crevices, they find shelter from the open coast. The enclosed space holds warmth and darkness, and outside the waves continue their quiet work on the shore. The contrast remains deeply restful. Inside, stillness and body heat. Outside, the broad breathing line of the sea. A little penguin carries the sea home and then sleeps beside it, separated only by earth and distance. Adults returning to chicks bring more than food. They bring continuity. The chick hears the outside world through the nearness of the burrow and learns that the ocean is not only vastness, but return, not only distance, but care arriving on small, steady feet. The burrow turns sound into reassurance. As the moon rises or the stars sharpen over the coast, the last penguins still on the path appear briefly in silvered outline and then disappear into shelter. Rocks darken. Grasses near the colony grow still. The water remains audible long after the birds are tucked away. Inside the hidden chambers of the colony, the little penguins settle into night while the shoreline continues its soft, endless motion. Hedgehogs. Again, the garden edges and hedgerows enter evening, and again the hedgehog emerges into a world scaled to leaves, stems, earth, and scent. The sky above may still hold a trace of light, but near the ground, the night is already beginning. The hedgehog knows this level of the world intimately. It moves through it as though following an old map written in smell and texture. Its nose leads every step. The pointed face lowers to the soil. The small ears sit quietly against the rounded head. The spined back forms a protective dome that brushes against grass and fallen leaves with a soft, rasping sound. Even the body's shape seems made for moving through cover, parting low plants and disappearing beneath them without effort. The scale of its nightly route keeps the entire scene comforting. A few stones can become a landmark. A gap beneath a fence can become a passage. A pile of leaves can become shelter, pantry, and resting place all at once. The hedgehog is an explorer of nearby things, and nearby things are often the gentlest things to imagine when the mind is tired. Its nest remains hidden and quiet behind the visible journey. Somewhere beneath leaves or among roots is the place to which it will return, dry and enclosed, lined with gathered plant matter that makes softness out of what the garden offers. During hibernation, such a nest becomes a whole season of safety. During warmer times, it becomes the endpoint of every small evening expedition. The hedgehog forages with a pattern that repeats calmly. Sniff at the base of a stem. Take a few steps. Rustle through leaves. Pause at a patch of soil. Turn. Continue. There is no sudden break in the sequence. Its night is built from these modest units, and because they repeat without alarm, they carry a steadying rhythm. Dew begins to gather as the hours pass. Grass blades cool. The air becomes a little heavier, a little fresher. The hedgehog continues through this slow change, always close to the ground, always partly hidden by shadow. Around it, the larger world grows quieter. Windows darken. Birds have long since gone still. The garden belongs to the small, rustling life beneath the shrubs. Eventually, the hedgehog turns toward cover again. It slips under a hedge, through a patch of leaves, or into the mouth of a hidden nest. The movement disappears almost completely. What remains is the thought of the small body curling into safety, while dawn is still some time away. In that hidden corner, tucked under the natural blanket of leaves and stems, the hedgehog rests, and the quiet ground keeps its secret.